Good morning and welcome to the Wallet to Wealth Female Entrepreneur Interview Series. I'm Whitney Hammond. We're live on a Wednesday just because we have a overload of people that we want to interview. So November is Women's Abuse Prevention Month. So this is going to be a special interview today. And just to recap on Wallet to Wealth, we are having our live gala on November the 12th. So if you do not have your tickets yet, get your tickets. You will receive a instant charitable tax receipt when you purchase your tickets. And the Wallet to Wealth brand was a series created to empower women, to speak to women. And we have really six super women standing up to share their stories on how they found advantage in their adversity. So all proceeds is going to the Halton Women's Place. That's the women's shelter here in Burlington, and there's also one in Milton. And our goal is to raise $30,000, and we're at about 23. So the push is on, you guys. Ladies, get in there. There's an auction. You can purchase cool items in the auction. If you can't make the event, you can always just put a small donation in there. Anything helps. So today we have a special guest who is Romanian. She lives in the United States. Her name is Michelle Trieste, and she is going to talk to us about her story, what she's been through in her life. And it's really important to know what can happen to women and why we have a Women's Abuse Prevention Month. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you, Whitney. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So you're coming from, tell us where you're coming from.
I'm coming from Connecticut. So yes. I was born and raised here in the US and spent time in Europe. So
yes.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you and happy that you're able to share your story. So our first question is, we've been talking about intergenerational trauma and societal messages that we've received. Women receive them, men receive them. And so because we're women right now, we're talking about what it's been like to be a woman and what messages did you hear when you were growing up as a child that formed your psyche?
Well, I grew up in a household where my mother had been divorced multiple times, and what she tried to do was to keep us in a safe environment, a household, but she struggled internally with some of her past generational hurts, sexual abuse, just neglect. And she also, there's a lot of alcoholism in the family. And what she tried to do is keep it away from us by basically staying off to herself, but keeping us in a safe environment. And so we lived in a pretty well-off part of Connecticut. Mm-hmm. And that's what she tried to do for us. But we were raised I basically grew up with two other siblings in my household, a younger brother and a younger sister. And she always spoke about being a strong woman. Strong women are very important. That's what we have in our family. But on the flip side, it was find someone who can take care of you. And that's the conflicting messages that I heard. So
that's what gets us into trouble.
Yes. Do as I say, don't do as I do.
And looking for somebody to take care of us. I mean, that really gets us into trouble.
Yes. And I love to watch movies and things. And even the movies kind of say, look for someone to save you.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, the men can be our knight in shining armor. I mean, that's fine. But the thing is that we have to make sure that we don't have limiting beliefs and unhealthy beliefs ourselves. And unfortunately, when we grow up in a situation when there's child abuse, addiction issues and stuff like that, it's not that white picket fence upbringing. We see a lot of raw stuff, and it sounds like that you had seen a lot of raw stuff that then leads to more things that happen in our teens and in our 20s, etc. So can you share a glimpse of your story and what happened with your family, the legal system, and how, you know, the whole story of what happened with your children, and how you were able to, how you lost them, and then how you were able to get them back? Well, you didn't lose them, they were kidnapped.
Right. Well, I think that sometimes, as especially in our youth, if we don't have a stable environment that is there to catch us and looks for our success, I think that there are many of us and where we want to just get out. And that's where I was. I just really want to get away from parents at all, the divorced parents, and both of them just wanted to get me off the payroll. I mean, they were just, that's basically what they wanted. And there was no support in what I was going to do in my future because they were so wound up in their own trauma and disappointments in life that I was just left out on my own. So I had this offer from someone I didn't know very well to go down and move to Florida. So I was like, great, new beginning. Why not? If I don't like them, I can just get my own place. Well, on the way down, I get pregnant. I lose my pills, and that's how it started. It just snowballed from there, where next thing I know, I'm selling my car so he can have the money to pay the bills. And then we're trying to run from Florida because he just made a drug deal. Now, he doesn't do drugs, but he made this deal. He's Romanian, and he made a deal with some other Romanian people in Florida that sold drugs. So he said, well, we have to leave the country because in 2 days, because I'm taking the money, but we don't have drugs to give them.
Oh.
So I had no, I mean, I was 21. I mean, I wasn't even think about insurance. I mean, thank goodness for Planned Parenthood. That's where I went to even find out I was pregnant. And I didn't have any insurance, I didn't have anything. So I was like, okay, well, I can't really go home. And now he said, you have these drug dealers after you as well, because they saw you, the American, here with us, and they all spoke Romanian. And so I had to leave the country with him. So we went to Australia for a couple of months, and that was the first time where he struck me. I was outside the car and I was taking a picture of Sydney, downtown Sydney. It was so beautiful. And I just took out the camera to take a picture, and he said, put that camera away. I said, I'm just taking one picture. And he just slammed me on the side of the head. And that was just like what I'm no longer in Kansas. I had no insurance, no money, no backup, nowhere to go, and drug dealers with a bounty over my head. So we left there after a couple of months, and we went to France. There we lived for 3.5 years. There was a point, and that's really where I started to find out even more how connected he was to stealing. And then I met a lot of different people. I mean, I grew up in Fairfield County, Connecticut, which is high net worth. And I was just so naive. And I met lots of characters in France, gypsies. And one time we had someone show up at our house with tattoos on his knuckles, threatening us. He was one of the bounty people. And I just met a lot of different people in France. And at one point I tried to leave him. We had gone to jail, but I was so fearful of leaving him that I waited till he was released from jail. And when he got out, when I tried to say, you can still see, we had the child by then, our first child. And I tried to leave, and I said, you can still visit with her. And that was not something he wanted to hear. And he just slammed me so hard. As you can tell, my nose is still crooked over that one. But so I let him visit with her overnight, and I show up the next morning to take her back so he could see I'm acting in good faith. You can do what you want with your life. Please just let me go. And when I showed up the next morning, she was gone.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was the first time. And then he let me know a couple of weeks later that he had taken her to to Romania. He had gone there, and he said, if you can make your way here, I'll let you take her back to the US. So I had very little, like a couple $100, which is the most money I had in my pocket at all, 3.5 years. So I made my way on the trains from France to Romania. I slept on the benches just to get there. And when I arrived at his house in Romania, his mother's house, I had those people just looking at me in the kitchen, and I was just cold and hungry. And he just wailed on me and my ribs. And he just said, you're going to stay here, and you're going to be the mother that you're supposed to be. And that's how my time in Romania, the next 3.5 years, started. Wow. So, yeah. So when you're in another country, and it can happen here in America, when you just don't have the support, but especially in a communist country, you don't have any money. He's friends with the police.
And I think too, like, it's really important because people want to know, like, always, how do women get battered? How does this happen to us, right? Well, the one thing is that we get financially, we're held financially hostage. So because we don't have that avenue to get out. So it's logically we could say, well, why don't you leave? Well, because the fear of leaving is worse than the fear of staying, number one. And number two, we feel like we deserve it. It's okay. I deserve this. I'm worthless. I felt worthless all my life. So why should I all of a sudden feel worth something when I'm 25? So it just becomes this cyclical situation where you don't even have a voice. And then your child is.
Yeah, I couldn't go anywhere without her.
Yeah, and the child is watching this just like you were watching whatever happened when you were a child. So your norm is, not what somebody else's norm would be. So it's the same thing as the abuser, because women can abuse and male can abuse. In this situation, it's a male abuse. The abuser would have seen abuse in his life. So it's not like it just popped up and this is a brand new idea. He would have seen that too. So we all become very desensitized. Getting smacked doesn't hurt as much as when somebody is mentally abusing you. And I do know that for a fact, because a smack or a punch or whatever, you kind of get over it. But the emotional abuse is insidious, and it just continues. So carry on. So you ended up having a second child.
Yeah. So when I realized how living in France, but then living in Romania, he had even more power, is the only word I could think of, because he could be that much more connected to the police there. And he just had power. I mean, it wasn't like in France where the cops would come after him. And they wouldn't even listen to me when I tried to leave in France, because I was the wife of someone like him. So even the police wouldn't help me in France. In Romania, I really didn't have any power, and he would keep the girls' passports. But I had one child, and at some point I realized, when you see someone come home with blood on their pants, and you don't ask questions, you just know that your time is limited the minute you try to do something wrong that they don't want. Beatings are beatings, but he would keep that behind the scenes in front of the children, not in front of them. And so at one point I just thought, I need to make sure I have a support system for my first child. And I had my second daughter there in Romania, and she was another angel in my life. So my two children are my loves. So I've been very blessed in that way. Yeah. And at one point, but he would keep the passports. His mother would keep their passports at her house. And I wasn't given money. I never had a bank account. I never had anything.
Yeah, so
His
you
parents
were
were divorced.
you were just completely held hostage, and thank God for these women's shelters. I'm like, because some people are just like, what, why do we have women's shelters? What, why are we supporting the women's shelter? Because this is where we go when situations like this happen. We go to the shelter, we tell them the story, and they say to us, this is not normal. Okay, but
Yeah,
we don't know. We don't
yeah.
know that it's not normal because it's our life, right? And so when somebody supports you and says, "Hey, this is not normal," and helps you, so you didn't have that help to get out of that
I didn't have
situation.
the help, yeah.
Yeah.
Until I came to another country. When I escaped literally from Romania with the two girls, I came back to the States and he followed us. And there was a point where he stole both children from here in the US. The authorities here didn't believe what they were dealing with this man. I think it
Yeah.
was just too complicated for them. And so I had to give him permission to visit with them, and he stole them again. And over a couple of months, long story short, I got them back with the help of local authorities here and in Romania. And then the media was huge in getting those children back from Romania. Big, big, they put a lot of pressure. And
And
then there was a point where,
I saw that big newspaper article too, of your children being stolen. So what was that like with them being gone for that long, and you have no access to them? You have no idea whether they're okay, whether they're crying for you or not, whether he's abusing them in some way.
yeah, I think you definitely could go a different way. There's moments in your life you're like, I could take this direction or that direction. And I chose, because I was back in my home country, that I could dig my heels in. And so I took my energy, instead of feeling helpless, I took that energy and focused on just getting shit done. So I was working during the day, going to school at night, and I didn't miss a beat. I was like, he is not stealing my power any longer. He has my children, but at some point I'm going to get them back.
Yes.
And I just didn't miss a beat as far as going to school or working. I had to harness that energy. I was not allowed to let anyone steal the energy, and I was not going to hurt myself, because I had to be the best, strongest person I could be when I got them back.
That's amazing. So you didn't lose faith. You did not lose your faith. You knew that you just had to keep moving forward, get yourself as healthy as you could, and you just kept saying in your mind, I'm going to have these children back. I'm going to have them back. And when they come back, I'm going to be healthy, because I'm not going to bring them into another situation.
Yeah, I grew up in a victim mentality in my household.
Yeah.
My mother was just miserable, unhappy. Her dreams didn't come through. The man of her dreams didn't appear, whatever it was. And I was like, I am not going to do that. I have a choice here.
Yeah.
Either I can mimic what I saw, or I can actually just focus and use that strong woman side in the generation and really just say, this is what needs to be done. And I was not going to be a victim. I was not doing it. So I'm not going to show my children that's how you be.
Yeah, so they must be strong survivors. So so you have a message of hope. You've got some key messages. What I'm hearing is, whatever people are going through, do not give up. Put one foot in front of the other, and know somewhere in your soul that this is not right. And if anything, because I always say this to people, if you can't make it for yourself, if you cannot make a change in your life for yourself, who can you make that change for? Because usually with that mind shift, people say, I could do it for my daughter. I could do it for my son. So if there's nothing left inside of you as a human being, grab on to something else, which would be your children, Can you do this for your children? And that, from what I'm hearing from you is, and I mean, I've been through this, so I know that as a mom, our intuition and our instinct, we can dig down deep inside and we can grab that last piece and do it for our children. So what's your message of hope? What would you like to tell families to do, what to know, because we really want to bring awareness to this cycle that happens?
The big thing is when we go through things in our lives, don't hold on to that experience, that horrible traumatic experience. It's a time and place in your life, but we need to make sure we find ourselves and be there for our communities, find it for our sons and our daughters, because those sons grow up and they affect, and those sons marry our daughters, and our sons suffer as well. So if we could be there and even, learn through when we have children, but now my children are grown and doing well. They're 30 and 26, they're married. And now I want to try to help others, because just seeing someone that cares for you just makes a huge difference, especially to youth. And I just pray that everyone will take some time out of their week, even if it's like 2 hours, and just be there to listen to someone else and share with them that they care. Just
true. That they mean something,
yeah.
that they matter.
They matter, yes. They have value. They have value.
Yeah. Awesome. So Michelle, you're going to, or you're going to start doing the speaker circuit. And I think that you have a very strong message. Your message is about resilience. Your message is about forgiveness. This has nothing to do with taking down the law or taking down other human beings. It's just to bring awareness to let people know, because we have friends and family. Everybody sees things that are going on. If you see things going on in another woman or man, whoever it is, that is unfair, is to let them know they matter and hear what they have to say, and to be able to share that there is an inner strength that we can all muster up enough strength to survive, to break that cycle, so that our children can, get to the next piece in life, the next part in life. We want to try to make life better for everybody. And when we do that, we have a better community, we have better jobs, we have better business owners, we just have everything better. What we don't want to be doing is having all sorts of chaos and strife going on, because that just brings children up. I mean, if you look at, I've done, research through people with addiction. I've done research through people in jail. And it doesn't mean that if you have been abused in your life, it doesn't mean that 100% that you will end up an addict or that you will end up in jail. It doesn't mean that. But when you interview the people that have been in jail, and you interview the people that have active addiction, they've been abused.
Yeah,
they've been abused, and there's some pretty bad stories, and there's big ones in the jail. And people can be rehabilitated. People can be better, because we're not bad people. There's bad things that have happened to us.
Yes, exactly. And we can help humanity. I mean, we just have to be there for humanity.
Yeah,
that's what they need.
So how can people reach you? How can people have you come on their platform? Because I see two things here. I mean, one is raising an awareness, and the other part is the mindset, because a lot of people we all need help with mindset. We need motivational situations that help us if we're in sales or in groups of workers. That it's that mindset to be able to hear from other super women, super men, how they use their mindset to be able to get from here to here. Because you could have been defeated. You could have said, I am not going to be able to get those children back, but you didn't say that. You said, I will get them back. I don't know how, but I'm going to get them back.
Yeah. Well, I think part of what you said was the speaker series. So I would like to go and speak to groups more and help them with their communities, whatever community they're working with at work or locally, just to just look deep inside with themselves and say, how can we help each other and make each other stronger in our business or our families. And if our families are stronger, our business is stronger, like you said. The other part is I'm actually working on a autobiography that should be coming out. It's called Fail to Send. It's going to be coming out in January. And the third part of my view is I'm working on an online program, which is based on building up mentorship and parenting with children. So it's an online program that I'm putting together, and that should be ready too in 2021.
This is good news. So
yeah, so they can do activities together, maybe not in the same place. I mean, one could be in jail, one could be, visiting their parent, or one could be at school, one could be, a different part of the country. For parents that are divorced, maybe your child is somewhere different, or maybe you're just not seeing them during the week and you want to share in activities and show you care. I mean, that's just so big. Or your children are grown and you want to help other children. You can do something online, some activities, and come together, whether it's meditation, the arts, volunteering. That's another big way to share. So it's all part of the online program.
Love it. Love it. So people can, I'm just going to wrap up here, but just to summarize, the big message I'm getting from you is that if the why is big enough, the how will show up, and you've lived that, and you're now doing that again with a business. And again, your why is very big, so the how is definitely going to show up. So we'll put in comments below how anybody can reach you, and any links that you want to put in there. Please do.
The Clear Voice Advantage, but I'll put that below. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll give you the last sentence, and thank you.
Thank you. So hopefully I'll hear from you all on a Clear Voice Advantage, and we'll be seeing each other, and I can help.
Yes. Yeah. And we'll have you on again. I just wanted to get you in here for Women's Abuse Prevention Month. It's
Thank you, Whitney.
Perfect timing. Okay. So Michelle, we'll talk to you later.
Okay. Bye.
All the best.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.